Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna start a new series, What If Naruto Became a Jinchuriki Otsutsuki? Part 1. If you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
He was drenched in sweat from his hairline to his eyebrows as his eyes quickly skimmed over the contents of the scroll before him. The scroll engulfed him entirely, enormous and unclasped. He needed to learn something from the scroll, according to Mizuki-sensei, and he would, without a doubt. He was going to make an impression on not just his teacher but all of Konoha. His gaze swept across a multitude of techniques, the majority of which demanded a very high chakra control, as in Junin level. Not only was he not a genin, he pressed on, gritting his teeth, hoping to find something he could actually work with. He caught an empty square that was partially covering the scroll by blinking. It said above the square, "Though it most likely won't, awakening of the dormant, Kekai Genkai reinforcement, pouring chakra into the area underneath. May draw from the well of the unknown. Significantly more chakra is required. Will become fatal if the outcome is not met." When Naruto only managed to understand, pour chakra in square, and large amount of chakra, his eyes grew wide. With great enthusiasm, Naruto placed his hand on the square and poured chakra into it. Oh yeah. Amount of chakra. Huh? So a high chakra control isn't needed? I hope I have enough. Iruka-sensei once said I might just have a whole lot. The blonde boy was surrounded by a red and blue chakra eruption that followed. Then there was hurt. Such suffering. He wanted to scream, but he was unable to move at all, including his mouth. His head felt like it was being pounded into pulp by hammers, his arms burned, his jaw snapped painfully, and his legs felt like they were being gradually severed by blunt scissors. His own chakra lifted him off the ground and held him in midair, preventing him from even writhing. His view gradually became completely obscured, until he found himself facing an enormous cage. Interesting, human. To think you have his blood running through your veins. You might just become someone of worth. He found it easy to understand what was being said, but he was unable to respond to the voice behind the cage. Once more, his sight disappeared, and he discovered himself back in the forest, the scroll still scattered across the ground. He could move his body normally again and the pain had disappeared. He started to kick around and flex his arms when he suddenly realized how good he felt, better than before. He also felt, as he inhaled through his nose, more refreshed. What happened? I finally found you. He turned to face his teacher, Amino Iruka, and whipped his head around. Yo, Iruka-sensei. What do you think you're doing with that scroll? That's the forbidden scroll, Naruto. You're not allowed to even touch it. Naruto's excited expression turned to one of stupefaction. What? But Mizuki-sensei told me if I could learn a jutsu from this scroll I would become instant genin. He said so. Mizuki. Iruka suddenly clenched his fists and surrounded Naruto. Here, he looked up at a specific tree with a hardened expression. He lied to you, Naruto. Didn't you, Mizuki? Of course I did. The gray-haired Chunin said, putting himself in front of them with a shunshin. This demon brat is such a fool. Falling for a trick like this so easily. I can't believe everyone in this village is afraid of the little moron. Afraid? Don't listen to him, Naruto. Mizuki gave his colleague a shake of his head. Don't stand in my way, Iruka. You know who the better shinobi is between the two of us. Don't make me kill you. Iruka was speechless and exclaimed, What are you? Mizuki, what the hell? What's going on? He gestured to the scroll on the ground close to Naruto and said, I am working for an enemy of the leaf. He wants that. It is always highly guarded but somehow the Hokage is always soft on the Kyuubi brat. I figured he'd be able to get his hands on it. Now, die. Abruptly, a massive shuriken tore through Iruka's clothes from behind, leaving a deep puncture in his back. The Mizuki before them disappeared, obviously a bunshin. Naruto was stunned to see Iruka fall to the ground. Kyuubi brat? The real Mizuki landed on Iruka's back with both feet, ignoring the ensuing cry of pain and turning to face Naruto. Iruka let out another agonized cry as he mercilessly tore the shuriken from her back. Yeah, you're Kyuubi. You never wondered why everyone in the village hates your guts. Why you have no friends. It's because you're the Kyuubi. What? Haruka interrupted herself. Don't listen to him, Naruto. You're not the Q. As Mizuki painfully stamped on the wound on her back. He turned back to Naruto and laughed maniacally, saying, "Shut up or this shuriken's gonna tear your head off, weak trash. You're not supposed to be alive, demon boy." The Kyuubi couldn't be killed in any normal way, so the fourth Hokage had to seal it into a newborn baby. That was you. The baby was supposed to die and take the Kyuubi with it to the afterlife. But yeah, like the scum that you survived, keeping the Kyuubi alive inside of you. That's why everyone hates you, you little shit. Naruto had lost his inner dark laugh and had become completely comatose. The boy with the blonde hair suddenly let out a scream. The sudden scream made Mizuki, who was still standing on Haruka's back, wince. Mizuki lost his temper for a moment or two, then scowled at the boy who was yelling in front of him. "Seems like you went crazy. What a worthless being you are." Mizuki attempted to strike Naruto to stop him from yelling like crazy, but as soon as he did, he really wanted to scream, but he was unable to. Something extraordinary occurred as soon as Mizuki put his hand on Naruto's cheek to shake him out of his funk. He felt as though all of his life had been taken away. The blonde boy grabbed his arm as soon as he touched Naruto, so he was unable to remove his hand. As soon as he touched him, Mizuki felt incredibly weak and could feel his own body quickly becoming tired. When he finally got a chance to look at the hand that was still on Naruto's cheek, he was horrified to see how old it had become. Then the light went out. Age had claimed Mizuki's life. Naruto was still enraged and stunned as the gray-haired Chunin shriveled up to the ground. At that moment, the third Hokage and the Anbu emerged. Naruto. Naruto. What happened here? At that moment, Naruto saw that Iruka had also perished, lying beneath Mizuki where the traitor had been standing. From advanced age as well. The Kyuubi actually laughed aloud as Naruto actually passed out from shock. How very interesting. Who would have guessed that this Uzumaki child had Otsutsuki blood? And his ability to think Homura's dark skill would ever resurface. This human will become a true menace to this world. This means the return of the Black Apple. It is an honor to be sealed into a direct descendant of the Otsutsuki. If ever I feared anyone besides Kagaya Otsutsuki, it was definitely her dark son, Homura Otsutsuki. Even father had trouble dealing with his brother. Sarutobi Hiruzen, outside of Naruto's mindscape, was unsure of how to interpret the circumstances. It seemed that two Konoha Chunin had aged rapidly and were now deceased. He had never heard of a jutsu like this one. Is it possible for Naruto to age people to the point of death? Hiruzen quickly realized, as he crouched down close to the two corpses, that the area around them was similarly devoid of life. After cutting the connection to Naruto's mind, Yamanaka Inoichi, the greatest mindwalker in Konoha, said, "I don't know what to say, Hokage-sama. As soon as I enter his mind, there is only darkness. There is nothing to see. No memories, no dreams, no ambitions or anything regarding his past. There is nothing. It's like he's completely empty." Naruto was taken to the hospital following the incident involving the Forbidden Scroll. It would be day 2 in the hospital as of today. To be honest, I was afraid of catching a glimpse or even encountering the Kyuubi, but there was nothing. I've never seen this before, Hokage-sama. Even brain-dead shinobi have more to show inside. The elderly fire leader said, and yet, he's perfectly fine. His health is outstanding, or so say the nurses. He's suffering from severe chakra exhaustion, which is rather unlikely for a Jinchuriki. What will you do with him now? You told me he knows he killed both Mizuki and Iruka-san. Yes, although I know it was all in self-defense. I'd been watching, after all. His eyes widened. But the all-viewing orb hasn't shown me enough. All I saw was Mizuki moving to hit Naruto in the face. The hit never really connected. Could it have been the Kyuubi? No, we would have surely sensed it. I had 3 of the highest capable sensor nin with me. They say there wasn't even chakra used. Hiruzen breathed deeply. I'll make him genin. My plan was for him to learn the Kage Bunshin from the scroll, but I watched him put his hand on something and then that sudden explosion of chakra. I have no idea what happened. And the scroll? I've managed to pin it down to Awakening of the Dormant. But Naruto's parents are Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina. The only Kekkei Genkai he could possibly have is more of a trait than an ability. The Uzumaki longevity. I never would have guessed the ability backfired like this. It'll take a while for me to figure things out for him. Hamura never had a Biju inside of him. I couldn't possibly imagine how hard it was for him to cope. At least I can heal and organize. Hamura had no one. The whole lives of Iruka and Mizuki blasted into Naruto's mind. He kept his original memories while also retaining theirs. It makes sense that shortly after their mother was sealed, Hamura turned to the dark. I used to wonder how he was always so intelligent. The Kyuubi peered down at the diminutive human form that lay before his cage. It appears that he possesses the Otsutsuki's healing power. Considering my personal influence on him as well, I estimated he would remain unconscious for an additional week. That strange method from that book truly worked wonders for my Jinchuriki, the Biju said, squinting his eyes at the awake human. It may even be better than mine. Who are you? I heard you talking. You may call me Kurama. Kurama, otherwise known as the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi. Naruto was standing and gesturing by this point. You're the reason everyone hates me. I am also the reason you still live. Exactly, we both should have died. Silly human. That human was lying. A Biju like me can never die, and if you play your cards right, neither can you. What are you talking about? You have the blood of an ancient legend, Naruto. I know a few things about the ability you have. I will teach you. You're the Kyuubi. What the hell are you talking about? Exclaimed the blonde as she turned to face the other side. Wah. Where the hell am I? This is a creepy place. The inside of you mind. It is quite the abyss at the moment. After what you did, things have changed here. The only one who can see things in here as of now are its owner. Or in your case, since I'm sealed inside of you, owners. You are talking gibberish, Kyuubi. Call me Kurama. It is my given name. Kyuubi simply means 9 tails. It is not a name. Naruto pinches himself. I must be dreaming. The Kyuubi is actually talking to me? As Naruto gradually faded from his view, Kurama cursed. That's bad. As soon as he wakes up in the real world, the memories of those 2 humans will bombard him into submission. The huge fox sighed. But it's also good, he'll come back here and then he'll be easier to talk to. Mizuki. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. I will do as you say. Iruka. So that's the Kyuubi kid, huh? Doesn't really look like a real threat to me, but I'll keep my distance just the same. Mizuki. Congratulations, Iruka. We're both Chunin, can you believe it? Iruka. Perform the henge, Naruto. This kid is supposed to be dangerous. Geez. Not even transformation is possible for him. Mizuki. Sasuke is top of the class, as you predicted. I can take him out of Konoha and to you, if you want. Don't be a fool, Mizuki. You're still too weak. I will give you power soon, more power. Iruka. No, you idiot, you didn't find me. I found you. Quit skipping class. Because he was unsure of his identity, Naruto let out the loudest scream he could. The third, who was near his bed, quickly put his hand out to comfort him, but it had no effect. Naruto, Naruto. However, Naruto was already losing consciousness. The last thing the third heard was, I am. Naruto? Welcome back, Naruto. Kurama watched as Naruto broke down in tears and grabbed his head, saying, what's going on with me? Who am I? I am, Naruto. Mizuki. Iruka. Iruka-sensei? Mizuki-sensei? Naruto? The demon brat? Who am I? Calm down, but he was unable to. He was talking to himself all the time. Am I the demon brat? I am Iruka. To scare the hell out of the blonde, Kurama unleashed a ton of killer intent. After a few moments, Naruto was able to look up to Kurama. Kurama, right? The Kyuubi? This means I must be the demon brat? Calm down. Following his observation of the human and consideration of whether or not to tell the boy everything, Kurama came to the conclusion that he had little interest in the human psyche. In any case, he could fix it. Most likely. Perhaps. Kyuubi abruptly cut off Naruto's speech with a tiny blast of chakra. Listen to me very carefully. You are Uzumaki Naruto. When you poured chakra into that sealed Fuinjutsu in the Forbidden Scroll, you have awakened your Kekkei Genkai. Don't interrupt me, Naruto. Your bloodline limit is one only seen once before in this world. In one man. The twin brother of the Sage of the Six Paths. Kurama considered Naruto very seriously, hesitating to say anything more before giving himself a nod and making up his mind. I know everything you know, Naruto. I believe it is also time for you to know everything I know. Thus, Kurama told him about the creation of the shinobi countries and villages, the Sage of the Six Paths, Hagoromo and his 2 sons, Kagaya Otsutsuki and her 2 sons, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, his parents. He kept Naruto in the dark about how cursed the power he had been given was. It might just destroy Naruto's inner brightness, just like it did for Hamura. No, there were some things best kept silent. This elderly man is too frail to be Hokage, Mizuki. Experiences, thoughts, memories, and visions. If only the Yondaime Hokage had not made the ultimate sacrifice, Iruka. As soon as he faced someone in person, Naruto could now, at least, distinguish between the memories he was bombarded with thanks to Kurama. Even now, it seemed as though he was experiencing these memories and thinking these thoughts. Everything remained incredibly confusing. You're lucky I am sealed inside of you. Without me, you would be completely lost now. Of course, eventually, your mind would be able to comprehend, but I just sped up the process. Human minds are inferior to ours, you see. Naruto was sitting in front of Hiruzen's desk right now. Naruto's mind was filled with images of the person he was facing, just like he was with everyone else. Recollections of Mizuki and Iruka's interactions with the elderly fire leader, and with the ways that Mizuki and Iruka perceived the third. It appeared to be a cunning method of gathering information. Do you feel any different, Naruto-kun? He did, of course. He had assimilated Iruka and Mizuki's essences to the fullest. He was even capable of using every trick in their toolbox. However, Kurama told him not to tell anyone about this particular fact. He could see the significance of this. Old man? I killed Iruka-sensei. Here, the third slightly squinted his eyes. While it is true Amino Iruka-san has passed away, I think you are hardly to blame. Naruto, who was 12 years old, had a much easier time understanding words spoken to him. This is blatantly due to the absorption of 2 adult humans that occurred recently. Gigi, I don't understand. They just... Mizuki-sensei, he... Naruto hesitated, trying to think of the correct phrase. He tried to kill me, old man. The blonde observed his leader nod sympathetically. I know, Naruto-kun. Then, he exclaimed, lowering his head. He muttered, I don't know what happened. Self-defense is what happened, Naruto-kun. However, your self-defense was quite extreme. Unfortunately, it swept Iruka-san along. The boy got up from his seat and exclaimed, my self-defense. Extreme? What? I don't even remember what happened. What did I do, old man? Mizuki-sensei said I was the Kyuubi. Kurama growled from within, you seem proficient in the art of deception already, human. The fire leader roared and got up from his seat, saying, you're not the Kyuubi, Naruto. The demon is sealed inside of you, that's it. You're Uzumaki Naruto. I am also the son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, but I guess I'm not supposed to know that. Naruto gave his commander a defiant glare, but he quickly looked away once more. I don't know what to do, Gigi. You looked into the Forbidden Scroll, Naruto-kun. What did you learn? I just poured chakra into some weird part somewhere. At first there was an explosion of chakra, but after that, I didn't seem any different. Let me tell you something, Naruto-kun, pay attention. The head of Naruto shot up. The only thing you did was touch Mizuki. Apparently, just a simple touch is enough to make someone else die of old age. This ability is completely unheard of. Since Iruka-san was touching Mizuki, and thus indirectly you, he was met with the same fate. Your touch is very dangerous, and we don't know if it's only just coming for your hands. But for now, the third opened a drawer on his desk. The third threw some dark green gloves at Naruto, who caught them. Those are chakra-constricting gloves, Naruto-kun. They stop the flow of chakra only for the one who wears them. They are superfluous. There is no chakra involved in the drain. Your own ability is within your control. It's just a matter of needing it or not, Kurama told him. Anyone can be depleted by a simple touch, and not just from your hands. Naruto put them on and smiled weakly. Dark green, huh? I kinda like the color. Gigi, what happens now? Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes narrowed, and a defiant smile spread across his face. Perform the Bunshin, Naruto-kun. Mizuki and Iruka both poured copious amounts of knowledge into him. The Bunshin had become nothing. Hiruzen squinted as he saw how effortlessly the boy was now able to execute the Bunshin. The boy who came before him struggled most with the jutsu. Interesting, that was perfect, Naruto-kun. Naruto pretended as he examined his D-ranked illusion. I don't understand, however. Henge, Naruto-kun. The Bunshin became an Anbu in an instant. Perfect too, as Hiruzen realized right away that this Anbu was Tenzo, who had been present when Naruto killed Mizuki. The Kawarimi now. In an instant, Naruto had swapped places with a plant in the room's corner. Well, I guess that qualifies you as genin, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen said with a tentative smile. The sudden mastery of the three basics seemed very suspicious, and the old man was certain he would keep a watch on Naruto, since he already had a suspicion about how this could be possible. I don't know the details, but you have the power to rob people of everything. My father is the eldest son of Kagaya Otsutsuki, along with his twin brother. Hamura Otsutsuki was the twin brother of my father, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. They were incredibly talented. His brother had the Byakugan, and my father the Rinnegan. There was no denying that my father was the superior when it came to Dujin. But Hamura possessed superiority in other areas. They both possessed comparable powers, such as the capacity for creation and flight. However, as you have already seen, Hamura possessed the power of death, whereas my father had control over life. When I touch someone, I get their everything. Almost, but their chakra is given to you permanently. You will become a very strong person as a result. You acquire both their presence and their knowledge. However, I don't think you can exhaust Kekkei Genkai. A normal human would go insane, but you and Hamura are not normal humans, Kurama said, closing his eyes. Even when the other Biju and I joined forces with father to battle Hamura, we always seemed to be losing. Whatever became of this Kagaya, their mother? She lost it and became obsessed with killing Hamura and my father. They had taken a great deal of her chakra, in her opinion. The two brothers had no choice but to cooperate in order to overthrow their mother. At this point, Hamura remained pure. However, it was unavoidable after absorbing so many other people. He chose a different route than his father. My father's brother became his new adversary after they vanquished Kagaya. You see, Hamura aspired to unite and transform the world. Because of all those varied viewpoints, he became insane after absorbing so many lives. So I'll experience the same thing, then? Not at all. Because Hamura didn't have a sealed Biju inside of him, unlike you. I am in your mind, inside you. I am able to arrange your ideas. I still don't understand it all that well because of my restricted access. I require more. All you need to do to keep yourself from going insane is... Naruto's eyes narrowed. Open this gate and allow us to become true partners. Naruto couldn't resist whistling a happy song as he slowly walked toward the training ground the old man had instructed him to go to. He also decided to dress differently, looking at himself with his hands in the pockets of his dark green trunks, wearing a gray short-sleeved hoodie with an open, sleeveless, thin dark green jacket covering it, along with dark green gloves, black sandals, gray socks, and a sleeveless jacket with pockets patterned after a Junin uniform. His Hite 8 had disappeared, and the metal had been sewn onto the glove portion of his right hand. Though it appeared as though his eyes were becoming lighter by the day, he was considering getting some glasses. Kurama had a suggestion about that. After Kurama had explained to him what it meant to be true partners, Naruto felt like a completely different person. He exuded confidence and felt like he could take on the world more than once a day. He could now work on his chakra control seriously without feeling hopelessly depressed because their chakras, his and Kurama's, would no longer be in constant conflict. However, he and the Kyuubi had discovered something else. Amino Iruka was a sensor nin, which made sense because that's how Iruka found him every time he skipped class. Additionally, he thought back to that night and remembered how easily Iruka found Mizuki. Now that Naruto was also a sensor nin, the best part was that, because he remembered what Iruka remembered, it felt natural to him. He could sense a lot of shinobi around him as he moved through Konoha. It was strange, but the way he felt made it seem less like Mizuki or Iruka had died and more like they had simply become a part of him. He was still grieving for Iruka, of course, and Kurama was a huge comfort in terms of the occasional flashbulb moments of insight and opinion that would only exacerbate the pain. Could it be Anbu? This guy has a decent amount of chakra, Iruka's insight told him, easily noticing how the shinobi stopped in a tree about 20 meters to his left, clearly observing him. Suddenly, he felt a shinobi approaching at high speed. That old human told you were going to be tested, right? This is probably your new teacher. Indeed, to join a group of 3 genin with an instructor Junin. Who will my teammates be, I wonder? Kakashi was certain that Naruto had seen him in the tree, saying, "The boy's got good instincts." Kurama had told him before that, if important, I will simply allow them to pass. It is important for your growth and maturity. For some reason, he wished he hadn't seen what came next. Iruka. Iruka-sensei, nay, 10-year-old Haruno Sakura. Why is he even in our class? He's too simple-minded to comprehend anything and is just constantly clowning around. I prefer it when he isn't around, especially when he skips class. Sokka-chan, everyone has a right to the same degree of instruction. Naruto is simply challenging. Tough. The girl with pink hair snorted. He's loud, annoying, and hopeless. Just take a peek at Sasuke-kun. Mizuki. Hey, Sasuke-kun. Mizuki-senpai? Tomorrow, Naruto and you will be paired for a spar. Do you think you can handle him? That failure. Not even a lifeless baby could defeat him. He is a useless idiot. Have some mercy, Sasuke-kun. You could be surprised by him. The truth is harsh in all cases. The dead last loser lives in dreams, not us. When Naruto saw his future teammates, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, he instantly memorized their chakra's sensation for later use and went up to them, shooting his eyes with emotional pain and frustration. Naruto, grow up. Stop doting after people like a worthless mongrel. Just as they were about to notice his approach, Naruto barely held back a glare, realizing that Kurama meant exactly what he meant when he said that these two never really liked him. In fact, they hated him. They are nothing but trash. Though Kurama wasn't too fond of the wording, it was at least a positive move. The Biju would ensure that Naruto didn't become too destructive. At least not by his standards. What? How come you're here? Did you not fail? After giving the pink-haired girl a cold look, Naruto turned his back on her and gave Sasuke the same look for a fraction of a second before moving to a spot that was free next to a tree, bending down to rest against it. Pay attention to me. Why have you come here? Then. You're our third team member, then? Useless, was Sasuke's easy response to Sakura's question. The Uchiha was not happy at all. A meek fangirl and the dead last? Fucking fantastic. You didn't even pass the test. How come you're our third teammate? Not even able to execute the bunshin. At least the dead last stays quiet. That's the first time I've seen him do something useful, said Sasuke, ignoring Sakura as well and leaning against another tree. Sasuke-kun, S. The girl watched as the two boys turned away from her, shutting their eyes. Naruto, don't ignore me. Yo. Like a wet cat, she let out a cry. The moment Naruto and Sasuke opened their eyes, they saw a gray-haired Junin suddenly standing close to Sakura. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I'll be testing you to see if you possess the abilities required to be genin. If you're talented enough, we'll do introductions. He then pulled 2 bells out of his pocket and hung them in front of the 3 new genin. 2 bells. If you don't, I don't need to know anything about you, so. You'll be genin if you can grab one. You have 2 hours and no rules. Sakura blinked and then quickly disappeared as Sasuke disappeared in an instant. On the other hand, Iruka suddenly bombarded Naruto with knowledge. Iruka. The Yondaime's Bell test is a teamwork assessment that gauges an individual's ability to rely on and collaborate with people they have never worked with before. This Iruka human has extensive knowledge of Konoha's inner workings, so it's convenient, isn't it? You should choose wisely who you absorb next time. A higher-ranked shinobi seems wise. 2 bells? As he stood up, Naruto muttered, don't you think it's a little too obvious, Kakashi-sensei? Here, Naruto dryly winked and slowly walked away from the Junin. 2 hours, huh? I'll demonstrate. Those two are not going to collaborate with me. With a dangerous narrowing of his eyes, Kakashi said, he knows the purpose of this test in less than 5 seconds? I'll be genin if I work alongside those two. Those two who hate my guts. Why would I want teammates who hate my guts? No, I'm not going to be a fool anymore. I want teammates who will watch my back. Screw those two. For the next 2 hours, I'm gonna sleep. Without me cooperating, they will fail as well. He snorted shortly. They deserve to fail. Maybe someday I'll find teammates who don't hate me. Well, that was a smart move. You need capable people around you. Reputable people who want to keep an eye on you. Kurama, you're right. I'm just going to sit this one out. Arrogance, if he had to guess, was the feeling he couldn't quite place. As he watched Sasuke futilely attempt to gain the upper hand on Hitaki Kakashi, Naruto laughed to himself. The alleged possessor of 1,000 jutsu, Hitaki Kakashi, carries one of his late teammate Uchiha Obito's Sharingan eyes. Mizuki and Iruka both knew this, I guess. As Naruto became aware that he was becoming used to the memory blasts, he wondered to himself. Why couldn't I identify his previous chakra? Memories, people can be very inconsistent with them, Kurama said. I would guess that this Kakashi had nothing to do with Iruka or Mizuki. The would-be blonde genin tilted his head, wondering aloud, this touch and absorb thing could become quite addictive. Why don't I just take out all of their vitality? Naruto, you're still weak. In addition to your weakness, there's the concern about how obvious your actions will get. Hitaki Kakashi, a higher-ranked Junin, will be missed. It's likely that you'll experience treatment that you don't particularly enjoy. Sasuke was about to unleash a fire technique on Kakashi in the field. Before Sasuke even released the jutsu, the Junin had already disappeared. I guess so, Naruto replied. Because of the memories he carried of Iruka and Mizuki, he was able to instantly identify the method Kakashi had used on Sasuke. Doden, you know that Shinshu Zanshu no Jutsu? After that, he suddenly realized how much jutsu he actually knew. After all, he was familiar with all of Iruka and Mizuki's knowledge. But he was no longer the hothead he once was. No, his thought patterns were now averaged between Iruka, Mizuki, and himself. He smiled and got up from where he was standing. Sasuke's head protruding from the ground amused him no end. The old Naruto would laugh into the next month, maybe a little bit more. Sasuke Uchiha. Because his older brother, Uchiha Itachi, killed them all, he lost his entire family. Orochimaru-sama has him as one of his targets. I neglected to inform Kabuto-sama of his team assignment. Orochimaru-sama. How about Kabuto-sama? A visual memory blast struck the Jinchuriki, making him narrow his eyes and realize exactly who Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto were. At the moment, Kabuto is a genin from Konoha and a spy for Orochimaru, the Otogakure leader. Kurama gave a wild laugh. It appears that there are other helpful people besides Iruka. This human from Mizuki is also somewhat knowledgeable. Sasuke was in the field, desperately attempting, but failing, to extricate himself from the earth. Naruto watched as Sakura ran, but as soon as she saw Sasuke's head protrude from the ground, she screamed and passed out. In the past, Naruto would be all over Sakura, shielding her from harm and all. He wasn't even considering it now, though. Otogakure, you say? This Orochimaru guy seems like a fascinating guy. Naruto learned that Orochimaru was a missing nin through memories from both Iruka and Mizuki. Alongside Jiraiya and Tsunade, he was a member of the renowned Sannin team. Students of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the current Hokage. It's true that I can easily drain anyone outside of Konoha. Indeed. The legendary fox demon laughed, saying that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Being on this side of the Otsutsuki is fun. So, you're not trying to catch these bells, Naruto? The blonde turned around coolly and gave Kakashi a bored look, sensing the Junin a minute earlier. He nodded over his shoulder at Sakura and Sasuke, saying, You're a Junin. An academy student like me can't possibly succeed without the help of those two. I don't plan on doing useless things, Kakashi-san. You'll go back to the academy if things continue like this. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki actually smiled at this point, saying, Perhaps that is for the best then. Or were you perhaps ordered to pass us? The Kyuubi Jinchuriki and the last Uchiha sent back to the academy. It doesn't sound good, not good at all. Be careful. Remember, there's a law on that? The Junin's cheerful tone vanished in an instant. Ah. With mock regret, Naruto scratched the back of his head. The blonde then sighed as he thought about the Junin in front of him, saying, "My bad, Kakashi-san. Honestly, though, I'd rather be sent back to the academy than to be in a team where I'm not wanted." Kakashi put his Icha book away and said, "I can't really respond to his comment, though it looks like he's showing his true self. You'd waste another whole year? Just because you don't want to be in a team with Sakura and Sasuke?" As Kakashi refrained from blinking, Naruto actually shot him a look of pure boredom. The Jinchuriki shook his head and turned his back on the Junin, saying, "Don't you think that's the wrong question to ask, Kakashi-san? I'll clarify. I'd rather be a civilian than be on a team that will get me killed." Breathing heavily, he weighed his options while on his hands and knees. It wouldn't help that the pink-haired useless existence existed. Maybe he could be distracted enough by that annoying blonde to accept the bells. Perhaps he would even ring the Dobi later for the help rendered. Most likely not. Uchiha Sasuke gave his casual opponent a stern look as he turned the pages of a small book with slow movements. Being undervalued did not sit well with the Uchiha. The boy with raven hair decided to back off and locate his fellow blonde student, clenching his teeth. Sasuke eventually discovered the blonde, who had been sleeping soundly, leaning against a tree, after a good 5 minutes. Rather than thrusting a kunai through his chest, he shoved him awake. "Dead last. Sasuke. Let's take down that Junin together." Nah. Naruto returned to sleep, and Sasuke blinked. What was that just now? Just as he was about to give the blonde another shove, he found himself pinned to the same tree that the blonde had been sleeping against. The kunai that was pressed up against his skin, right under his eye, was more noticeable. "Touch me again and say goodbye to your eyes, Sasuke." His swallow was tense. Sasuke realized that Naruto could still be able to remove his eye due to the kunai's placement. Naruto fell back to the ground and attempted to settle himself against the tree again, pushing Sasuke to the right of him. "Leave me alone." He tried again, oblivious to how easily Naruto had him pinned against that tree. He scoffed as he turned away from him and stared at the direction he believed Kakashi was still waiting at. "Look, we can pass this test without Sakura. Despite you being dead last, I think you'll be less of a nuisance than her in a team. She'll just die from being too useless." Sasuke turned around and gritted his teeth when he saw that Naruto was actually snoring. He tried to wake the blonde again, but was stopped by another voice. Turning quickly and grabbing a kunai, Sasuke braced himself and said, "Looks like you won't be of any help, Sasuke-kun." However, Kakashi continued to read his Icha. "Ah, no need to be so nervous, Sasuke-kun. It is you who should be attacking me, after all." Launching himself forward, Sasuke found himself trapped once more. "I wasn't expecting anything from a dead last, anyway. I'll get those bells myself. In a tree, this time. Damn you." Kakashi just laughed and turned to leave. "Oh, Kikyo-chan, you're so naughty, behave." At last, Sakura opened her eyes from her nightmare of seeing Sasuke beheaded and looked around her. She tried to find any of the others after suddenly remembering that she needed to pass another test in order to become a genin. She was shocked to find Kakashi dozing off on the ground not far from her, an orange book balanced atop his head. Chance. She was suddenly face down on the ground as she reached for the bells. As he turned to leave the girl, Kakashi chastised him, saying, "How rude, to attack a man while he's sleeping." The would-be genin understood that Kakashi had to have bound her hands and feet behind her back while also using Kawarimi with herself. "I can't free myself." "No need to scream," Junin said quietly as he left. "There's no one near to hear you anyway." When Naruto gradually opened his right eye in response to sounds, he saw Sasuke making a vain attempt to break free of the tree that had imprisoned his body. It was just his head that protruded. Naruto laughed, pointing a finger at the Uchiha. "Haha, useless. Shut up, dead last. I'll kill you when I get out of here." While Sasuke was still yelling out the threat, Naruto appeared in front of the Uchiha and placed a kunai in his mouth. "How about you shut up before I make your entire face a fucking mouth?" He was very serious. It was very serious, Naruto. Sasuke became aware of this while Naruto was giving him the mother of all glares. The blonde did not have a smile on her face. Not even a smile, a frown. Just lifeless neutralism. I think we should both decide that. You will never call me a dead last again, right, Sasuke? Naruto's question was accompanied by a hint of killing intent, which made the Uchiha shudder a little. Sasuke was unable to even nod his head due to the kunai's current position. Naruto took the kunai out of Sasuke's mouth, satisfied, and turned to leave. Glancing over his shoulder, he said, "Get yourself out of that tree, man. You look ridiculous." That was pretty disturbing. Naruto sighed and looked in mild surprise at Kakashi. After walking a considerable distance away from Sasuke, the Jinchuriki was startled to see Kakashi standing in front of him. He asked for it. The Junin's head tipped. I don't think I heard him asking for a kunai in his mouth. Naruto also tipped his head, grinning. It was a very silent question. You had to have been there. He abruptly assumed a fighting stance, causing Kakashi to slightly modify his own posture. Was the blonde ready for a fight now? He pulled a genuine kunai from his holster and began. But we both know that wasn't a real kunai. Not like this one. After gathering chakra to execute a kawarimi with the hurled kunai, Naruto threw it at the Junin in an attempt to surprise him. The blonde was thrown 3 shuriken over her shoulder, and the impressed Junin ducked under them, allowing Naruto to sail past him. Kakashi said, "You like wasting chakra." Naruto ignored the Junin, doing hand seals, and just smiled. Taiju kawarimi. Sensing that Naruto had amassed a significant amount of chakra, Kakashi deduced that the blonde was attempting to bolster his argument. Yeah, wasting chakra is my thing. Kakashi's right hand held a book that had transformed into Naruto. At that point, Kakashi became serious. No, Icha was involved in this. He had to get serious at this point. I had to fail them. Hokage-sama, they weren't working together at all. Be that as it may, you'll have to gather them once again. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki and the last of the Uchiha have to become genin as of now. Test them again and force teamwork as you go. Ninja, the copycat, sighed. He was sitting in front of the Hokage, and they were talking about the test together. Sensei's son, he's become quite jaded. Hiruzen put his hands on the table and rested his chin on them, saying, that is understandable, considering. What of his skills? He covered a wide area with his chakra to be able to replace himself with everything in said area. He called it the advanced replacement technique. Kakashi laughed. It isn't unheard of, it just costs too much chakra. And it won't work on a Junin, obviously, since it is slow and quite predictable. He's lucky he has that much chakra. What got to me though is, at one time, he replaced himself with the bells. The Hokage gave a mischievous laugh. So he actually passed your test? The gray-haired Junin rubbed his head slightly in frustration. Nah, I got the bells back before he could even touch them. But it was clever. I think he was trying to prove a point. That he didn't need the other two to get a bell. He got this idea in his head that Sakura and Sasuke don't want to be a team with him. Well, can you blame him? His entire class was against him and even the teachers were. The only teacher that wasn't was Iruka, and the boy killed him. Yes, you've told me. He has a very dangerous ability. He didn't show me anything dangerous, though. I still find it hard to believe that he got rid of 2 Chunin-leveled shinobi. It's what happened, Kakashi. And I have a suspicion that his ability is more advanced than what first meets the eye. If you notice anything out of the ordinary, you immediately report to me. Actually, I think he's a sensor nin. He spotted me before, while I was in hiding. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes dangerously. Even though former Anbu Captain Kakashi was hiding, was he still detected? Exactly things like that, you see, his skill, this uncanny ability of his. I think he can absorb people by touch. If what I think is true, he can also absorb their jutsu and their abilities. The Hokage's face began to darken. Amino Iruka was a sensor nin. Uzumaki Naruto definitely wasn't. The following day, Sakura was walking contentedly beside her beloved Sasuke-kun, trailing behind Kakashi. When Sasuke appeared in front of her door in the morning, she was pleasantly surprised. Kakashi was there too, of course, but she barely noticed. They were to take another test, the Genin trial. They were now en route to retrieve the very last student in the class. Naruto lived alone, just like Sasuke. Naruto, however, did not own the entire estate like the Uchiha did. No, the blonde merely lived in a modest apartment in Konoha's impoverished neighborhood. Sakura might have felt a little sorry for Naruto if she hadn't been giving Sasuke her whole attention. Sasuke, however, now had a better understanding of Naruto. As Kakashi knocked on Naruto's apartment door, she sensed something wasn't quite right. Even though he wasn't a censor nin, Naruto's apartment seemed to be filled with a lot of people. Perhaps Kage Bunshin. But aside from the blonde, the apartment was deserted when Naruto opened the door. And it was completely empty, except for one soiled chair, a small round table, and a refrigerator. This place stinks. Shut up, Sasuke. Sasuke thought of the strange killing intent from the other day as a one-time event after witnessing the blonde act like himself once more. Perhaps the blonde had just been grumpy for whatever reason. Although Kakashi had also used his nose, he was able to smell blood where others were unable to. Why are you guys here anyway? I'm busy. With a quick glance around his living area, the Uchiha asked, busy with what? Definitely not with cleaning your apartment. Contrary to Sasuke's observation, the blonde had in fact been cleaning, according to the Junin among them. Most likely, Naruto was eliminating all the blood. Now that everyone was inside, he could smell it even more strongly. What had taken place? This blood, whose? The Naruto's? It's so small, Sakura said. You live here by yourself? He turned his dry gaze from Sakura to Kakashi and scowled, saying, no, I just like to hang out here. So, why are you here? Trust. While Naruto just scowled at Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto exchanged glances. They were back at the same training area as yesterday, where Kakashi had brought them. Now all of them sat on the ground. That's what we're missing. Yesterday, 2 genin teams passed their test. Team 8 under Yuji Kurenai consists of Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino and Hyuga Hinata. Team 10 is led by Sarutobi Asuma and his students are Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino and Akamichi Choji. They have what you lack. They trust each other. Kakashi cocked his head to the left and right, analyzing Sakura's query. Partially. They are all familiar with each other. They know each other. You 3, on the other hand, don't know each other at all. Therefore, I'm going to ask you questions and you are going to answer me. Kakashi. Call me Kakashi-sensei, Naruto. And what is it? My assumption from yesterday is correct, then? You have to pass us because? The blonde was abruptly cut off by the imposter. He said hastily, fearing that the other 2 would start to inquire as to what Naruto meant. Also, partially. It's my turn to ask the questions now. Sasuke, what do you know about Sakura? Sasuke answered right away. Nothing. Sakura said, lowering her head in sorrow. Try harder. With a frown, Sasuke gave the gray-haired Junin a glare. She has pink hair. Her voice is very loud. Her last name is Haru, Ka. Sakura appeared as though stones had crushed her heart. Kakashi gave the Uchiha a steady look while he slightly lowered his head. Haruno. Her name is Haruno Sakura. That's all I know. Alternatively, if one had a Sasuke interpreter available, it would mean, I don't really care. Not good enough, Sasuke. Try harder. I am sure the other way around she knows more about you. After giving Kakashi a smoldering glare for that quip, Sasuke tried again. He turned to face the graduate, who appeared ecstatic at having received such high marks. She graduated with top marks close to some of my own. She eagerly awaited his subsequent remark. She is not ready to become a shinobi. At that, the girl fell backwards onto the ground. Kakashi gestured for the boy to continue rather than chastise the Uchiha. The squad required this. She's got very little skill. Wait, what? Sasuke scoffed. Sakura was back in her seat, her face beaming with happiness. She has no skills. Except, he slowly and reluctantly said, I think she has a photographic memory. She seemed to remember everything that was written down on the whiteboard in class. The Uchiha continued, it was very annoying. She had returned to the earth. Kakashi gave a head nod. I suppose that'll do. My conclusion is that you don't know her at all. I will see to it that will change. Now, What do you know about Naruto? Why am I the only one getting these stupid questions? Kakashi just gave a happy little smile. Unfazed, Naruto said, he's the dead last. He can't remember anything. Sasuke got started. His so-called pranks he pulls off every day are a desperate cry for attention he only sometimes gets. Kakashi and Naruto both raised an eyebrow at that. That was quite accurate. Sakura swooned too loudly for anyone to hear. Sasuke concluded, his clothes are ridiculous. Naruto actually nodded as he cast a glance down at his clothes. You know what, Sasuke? The blonde asked with a scowl, defying him to refute his assertion that the orange monstrosity wasn't real. Rather, he got a single nod. You are absolutely right. First thing I do after this weird meeting is get some new clothes. Still, that's not enough, Sasuke. Try some more. HN. Sasuke appeared to be considering his next move as he cast his gaze to the ground. He's hated by everyone. Sakura actually noticed and said, huh? What do you mean? Sakura was not someone Sasuke thought deserving of a response. Yes, what do you mean, Sasuke? The youthful vigilante considered whether Kakashi deserved a response, but ultimately sighed and continued. He turned to face Kakashi again after giving Sakura a sharp glance and saying, the entire village hates him. It's obvious. Any moron can see. Even blind morons can see. Some fools see less than blind morons, though. That's not very nice, Sasuke. However, Kakashi realized that Sakura was unaware that the insult was directed at her in the first place. I suppose that's Ino. The group's girl asked abruptly, why does everyone hate Naruto? Rolling his eyes, Naruto looked at Kakashi and Sasuke. They were openly discussing it and looking like complete idiots. Then again, he might come up with, because of my pranks. I'm getting real ridiculous lately. Remarkably quickly, Sasuke said, don't be stupid. He locked eyes with the blonde, saying, no amount of pranks can make everyone hate you. There's something else. When Naruto responded rudely, the Uchiha glare went on immediately. Hey, mind your own fucking business, Sasuke. Kakashi yelled, Naruto. Language, but Sasuke kept walking back. As if anyone's interested in your pitiful life, Dobi. Okay, that's enough. Kakashi began to ponder whether these two could work together as a team. How could the Sandaime have thought? Your turn, Naruto. Before Kakashi could say who he had to start with, the blonde said, all right. Legendary wielder of the Sharingan. Sasuke recoiled in shock at the strange beginning right away. What? His arms were raised dramatically above his head in a dramatic, Hitaki Kakashi. It is rumored you know 1,000 jutsu because of that jutsu stealer. The indolent Junin chimed in, very funny, Naruto. What do you know about Sasuke? Naruto seemed to be enjoying some fun moments as he smiled at the Junin. Whoa, not fair. We all have to tell a story about each other but you're not playing. Not cool, Kakashi. With a fierce agreement, Sasuke was more enraged by this Junin's Sharingan than he was by having to go first. You have a Sharingan. You are not Uchiha. Obviously. Naruto threw in with a quick comment. All right, Kakashi said, folding his arms and hunching his head back a little. He also sighed. In the war, one of my teammates was Uchiha. He died, sacrificing himself to save me and my other teammate. He is a true hero of Konoha. He gave me his Sharingan eye before he died. Recognizing the sadness the Junin was attempting to hide, the Uchiha seemed to accept this. What was his name? Uchiha Obito. He didn't leave anyone behind, he was an orphan. With a sudden pain in his mind, Sasuke dropped his head and remembered a time when the Uchiha were still alive. So, what do you know about Sasuke, Naruto? Naruto decided to play this game and, with an eyebrow quirking, he sat down, cross-legged, with his head resting in the palm of his hand. He said, ignoring Sasuke's glare and Kakashi's amused expression, I know so much about young Uchiha Sasuke. Where to start? Sakura appeared to be amused as well. I think Senju Hashirama is still alive, because I don't know how else to explain that gigantic tree up his ass. Sakura blushed with embarrassment. Sasuke exclaimed, Dobi, as if he were prepared to kill the blonde 5 times. Kakashi was very clear when he said, Naruto, be serious. Fine, fine. he exclaimed, turning serious. Uchiha Sasuke is the only survivor of the Uchiha massacre. He is one of the only two Uchiha still alive in this world. The other is Uchiha Itachi, the one responsible for killing off the entire Uchiha clan. With a dangerous narrowing of his eyes, Kakashi was able to stop Sasuke from attacking Naruto in time. Unsure whether to allow Naruto to continue, Kakashi was holding Sasuke in a lock. Nevertheless, he chose to do so and indicated as much. With his most comforting smile, the Jinchuriki said, "I didn't mean to offend, Sasuke." The blonde said, "Anyway, Sasuke has good taijutsu and ninjutsu, haven't seen him use genjutsu yet. I've only seen him use the Kaden Gukakyu no Jutsu, so yeah, he knows that one." Considering all the information he had learned from Iruka and Mizuki, he debated whether or not to share it with the Sky. He graduated top of our class and he likes girls with long hair. That's not true. So, you like girls with short hair? No. Bald girls. He was still in a headlock when Kakashi yelled, "Shut up, dead last." Still sitting calmly, Naruto bowed his head politely at the less than polite Sasuke, saying, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know." Sakura showed a strong interest in the subject. Didn't know what? Naruto turned slowly to Sakura and explained, "He's into boys." No. Sakura passed out. "I'm going to kill you with your own mouth, Naruto." "My own? What the hell, man? Calm down, Sasuke." After 30 minutes, although Sasuke continued to glare deep wounds into Naruto, the blonde didn't seem to notice. Blithely joyful. "Seems you've finally woken up. I had the worst nightmare," the girl with pink hair groggily said, rubbing her eyes and concentrating on her surroundings. It dawned on her then where she was. "No, don't tell me it's true." A tiny voice in the back of Sasuke's mind suggested that it might get rid of a fangirl, but Sasuke quickly fixed the problem. "Of course not, you idiot." However, the girl could see through Naruto's reasoning. What would happen if Sasuke disliked girls who had bald spots or long or short hair? She looked quickly at Kakashi's hand waving in front of her, afraid of the answer. "Now that you're back with us, Naruto can continue with you." Naruto sat back down on the ground and said, "Sure." Haruno Sakura also graduated with top marks, just below Sasuke in some areas. She was bullied for a long time because of her large forehead, but that stopped as soon as she became friends with Yamana Ino. He then turned to Sakura. "I think you should really be nicer to her, Sakura." For a brief moment, a question mark lingered over Sakura. It seemed that Naruto paid surprisingly close attention during the academy. Naruto snorted, and surprisingly so did Sasuke. She, just like all the other girls, grew her hair out to try and win Sasuke over. With a dramatic deadpan expression, Naruto concluded, "It has proven fruitless." Quite superficial information, but it'll do. It simply proves certain points. Your turn, Sakura. She began right away. Sasuke-kun is the rookie of the year. Evidently, she hadn't heard Naruto when she said, "He likes girls with long hair." He lost his entire family at a young age and has a broken soul that needs to be repaired by the power of true love. Once more, Sasuke and Naruto both snorted. One laughing, the other looking disgusted. The only thing broken here will be Naruto's nose. Sasuke, don't interrupt. Hey, stay away from my nose. Sakura went on as though everyone was still paying attention. He knows many jutsu and will probably become Junin in no time. Kakashi answered, "Sakura, no assumptions, just what you really know." "What I really know?" The Junin gave a nod. Sakura glanced at Sasuke and suddenly appeared quite unsure. I don't know a lot about him." "What about Naruto?" She apologized to the blonde, looking guilty. "Even less." With a sigh, Kakashi pressed his palms together. "Well, let's change that. Now tell us about yourselves. You start, Sakura." "How is that moron going to kill me with my own tongue? That isn't feasible." While returning home, Naruto was pondering. "You're growing accustomed to your skills. The former version of yourself is coming back stronger and faster. This is beneficial. We aim to avoid being overly conspicuous." Naruto reflected, "Yeah, I've realized the same thing. Last night in particular provided me with some much needed clarity." Kurama gave a menacing laugh. Yes, it was really enlightening last night. I am now a genin, then. Even so, I knew that Kakashi had been told to pass us. This implies that I'll be working with Sasuke and Sakura on a team for a while. I wonder how that will work out. Naruto, never trust a Uchiha. They are referred to as the sentimental shinobi. Their feelings give them more strength but also less mental stability. Before he can stab you in the back, stab him in the back. No, I won't stab that pathetic sap in the back. I will amputate his arms and leave him alive. Look at the type of shinobi he will become without arms. Then, maybe a leg too. Uchiha have very good visual skills. Yes, perhaps. But he'll look ridiculous after that. And he won't if he has no arms. Their initial C-rank task. Tazuna was a bridge builder, and they had to take him back to Wave Country, his home country. They were to guard him against robbers as well. Naruto was talking to Kurama in his head as Team 7 trailed behind Tazuna. He referred to it as Shinzui Bunshin. The clone of Essence, Naruto realized. That implies that they are, in fact, still alive within me. Supposedly, but they are unquestionably yours. I believe they are just clones in which you have temporarily stored essence. You should see them as slaves. Kurama paused, retrieving as much information as he could from centuries ago. There are no hand seals for this technique. It is simply a sub-skill for your ability. You can just will it. I've seen my father's brother do it. He simply created them out of his body, like an extension. They all had their own existence, their own personalities, but when it came to the blood, they were Hamura. They couldn't defy his commands. The same will be true for you. You can always summon those you have absorbed and let them fight for you. They have no choice but to obey. How should I execute the Shinzui Bunshin? I'm not sure. Try it. It's amazing to see those two idiots standing around like that. What are they doing? They're weak, they won't add anything, and they've hidden themselves in a genjutsu. It seems that they are meant to resemble a puddle of water on the ground. Subsequently, the two advanced toward Kakashi. Naruto grinned and leapt forward to block Kakashi, using a kunai to break free the chains. Naruto, the legendary Uzumaki, is able to spot your tricks. Get out of the way, brat. We're going to murder the old man and then your teacher. One of them said, we promise not to kill you if you get lost. While Sakura was still having to adjust to Naruto's rapid advancement, Sasuke was astounded by how quickly it had happened. Naruto, please hold on. The demon brothers of the mist are these people. Their poison is well known. Naruto shrugged carelessly, showing no hesitation at all. In addition, Kakashi-sensei. They are employed by Momochi Zabuza. Gozu, one of the demon brothers, wondered, how does he know that? Only a select few have that knowledge. Too bad you'll pass away young. Maizu hurried for Naruto without giving a thought. As his claw got closer to Naruto's face, he growled. Rather, Kakashi employed Shunshin to instantly render him unconscious. You understand that I'm a Junin, correct? As the only person still alive, Gozu fell to the ground, knelt, and said, crap. While Kakashi continued to battle Zabuza in this terrible mist technique, Sasuke and Sakura were left to defend Tazuna by themselves because the mist prevented them from seeing where Naruto had vanished to. Further down the road, Zabuza had ambushed them, and Kakashi had quickly ordered them to stay put and protect Tazuna. They were unable to see what was happening, but Kakashi's voice abruptly called for them to take Tazuna and retreat after a long exchange of blows. It seems that the Junin was imprisoned in a water prison, and he informed his subordinates that the real Zabuza would remain trapped for as long as he was. As the Zabuza water clones got closer, Kakashi warned them that if they got too far away from the caster, the water clones would lose their substance. That's when Sasuke and Sakura were left behind as Naruto entered the battle without any prior notice. Chakra poured out of Naruto and seemed to quickly take form as he willed a Shinzui Bunshin into existence in the mist, unprotected but fearless. From where he was imprisoned, Kakashi could see him. Naruto, hurry. He's more than your match. If the water clone is located too far away from him, he won't be able to maintain it. Then Umino Iruka and Toji Mizuki stood to his left and right, and the genin ignored the Junin and kept focused on the technique. Naruto, you did a great job. Inside the water prison, Kakashi's eyes grew wide. As they were both outside of Naruto's reality, Mizuki and Iruka were fully aware of their situation. TCH. I can't believe we've been reduced to be his toys. Mizuki let out a growl. And there's nothing we can do about it. With equal harshness, Iruka bit out, "It's what you deserve, Mizuki." Turning to face Naruto, he said, "I want you to know I don't blame you for what's happened, Naruto. You were unable to stop it. Furthermore, you've practically given me immortality. Naruto, when they die, they die. You have the option to reintegrate them into yourself, but you cannot choose to let them go from their captivity. They will wither and die in your absence. They cannot defy you or move against you. They are simply the most convenient pieces of existence. So the Mist's devil, Momochi Zabuza, is our opponent? I don't really have a choice, even if I don't want to." Mizuki sighed, accepting his fate. "My life is no longer mine." "Stop complaining, they're coming." When the fifth water clone managed to injure Mizuki and Iruka enough to knock them both to the ground, Naruto watched as their bodies fell and made the decision to absorb them back into himself once the fight was over. Now, they were slowly bleeding to death. "What kind of clones were they?" asked the fifth water clone as it approached. "You think that 2 Chunin was too easy for you?" Naruto replied, "Shinzui Bunshin. I suppose I shouldn't undervalue you. Imagine what the real one is like. You're just a water clone." With a growl, the water clone Zabuza said, "That's right, child. Now behave well and stay still." Naruto created a second, faster clone of himself with a stronger chakra presence. When the water clone realized who was in front of him, his eyes grew wide. Kakashi's eyes grew wide with fear. The new slave turned to face Naruto and gestured, "Despite my permanent predicament, I am at least relieved to know this one holds much potential." The voice of Naruto was pitiful, an elite Junin of Konoha, trapped by a meager Suiro no Jutsu. "This one, Kakashi, will go far in contrast to you." Zabuza cautiously stepped back and began, "S. Shimura. Danzo," Kakashi concluded with a hint of dejection. Naruto just smiled. The flashback of underscore equals, caret asterisk asterisk caret, equals underscore. They say talking to yourself is the first sign of mental instability. Shaking his head hurriedly, Naruto saw an elderly man standing in his apartment. "I didn't sense this guy at all," he exclaimed, speaking to Kurama aloud. Narrowing his eyes, he sensed 5 incoming chakra presences that surrounded his apartment from the outside. He brought company. The ever-present Anbu that had been watching him vanished, indicating that this was not a visit ordered by the Hokage. "Naruto, exercise caution. This man is extremely strong. Who are you?" He made an effort to sound as menacing as possible. "Uzumaki Naruto, I've heard you failed the Genin examination. I've brought an offer with me." "So, the elderly man is unaware of your presence?" Naruto's eyes met the man with the canes, and he suddenly smiled. "Play it smart, Naruto. This man is very wary. You'll have to be really quick. I understand what you're thinking." Finish flashback underscore equals, caret asterisk asterisk caret, equals underscore. Give me control. You're not ready for this. The switch is open, let me try first. I want to see how well my average has become. TCH. You're gonna get bitten. Danzo scowled menacingly as he found himself switched from several spots, 5 to be exact, in less than 3 seconds. But he was a seasoned elite shinobi from Konoha. He was not be disoriented so easily and grabbed the offending limb that was about to connect with his face with disgusting ease. "You attack me," Danzo stated calmly, even as Naruto's chakra raged around him. "You obviously don't know who I am." Another 3 Kawarimi later and Naruto still found himself in the same predicament. "You've infused the entire building with your chakra to perform this version of the replacement technique. An amusing trick, but not one I am unfamiliar with, I'm afraid." The one-eyed veteran let out as he slammed the blonde into the ground and motioned for his guards to stay put and continue surrounding the apartment complex with a chakra-suppressing presence. He was going to teach this boy a lesson. Naruto spat out blood as he felt his ribcage burst. "You're not even a shinobi, boy. But you can become one, if you follow my every word to the letter." Danzo tapped the cane in his right hand once. "You can become legendary, Kyuubi Jinchuriki. And I will be." Naruto managed and slowly rose to his feet and glared at his adversary. "Who are you?" "My name is Shimura Danzo." was the calm answer given. You do well to mind your manners when faced with a superior. Who's the superior? Danzo couldn't even blink as he was grabbed from behind by a huge hand made out of red, poisonous chakra. Kyuubi. To think he had let his guard down because he was just facing a weak punk. The chakra came from the floor. Danzo's guards were all pointing swords at Naruto the next instant. Call your men down or you die now, Shimura Danzo-kun. Hey. Danzo wanted to sign to his soldiers to take the boy down, but he felt that he couldn't control his own body. It felt as if he was slowly being drained of his energy. My chakra is fading. Darkly, the Kyuubi, having temporarily taken over Naruto's body, chuckled as Danzo was slowly being drained from everything that he was. Seems I was right. My Jinchuriki isn't strong enough yet. But now he probably is, thanks to you. Already he and Naruto both received memories from Danzo. Shinobi of the darkness, indeed. The 5 root guards moved to attack, but Naruto was surrounded by defensive red, bubbling chakra. A defense not so easily penetrated. No one will hear your echoes, Naruto, content on watching things from inside, chuckled as he felt himself growing stronger. How convenient that my ability works even through your chakra, Kurama. The Black Apple, Chapter 2. Plans. I have some disturbing news, Kakashi. Konoha's copycat was standing in front of the fire leader's desk, after having been told that his team would receive a C-ranked mission this afternoon. A mission to Wave that could spiral into dangerous regions because Gato was involved. He could probably handle it, though. My old teammate hasn't been seen for a few days. Kakashi seemed to ponder on it for a bit, before he turned serious. You mean Shimura Danzo? The Cage nodded his head in troubled fashion. I've spoken to some of his subordinates. You and I both know they cannot speak of anything root-related because of the silence Fuin Danzo has forced on them. He has been missing for more than a week, which has never happened before. If this week changes into 2 weeks, I will have to brand him Nuke Nin. He hasn't been killed. He is definitely still alive. The Fuin seal on his subordinates would have deactivated if he died. The aging leader's gaze turned dead serious and Kakashi straightened his posture immediately. This is a dangerous situation, Kakashi. Who knows what that stubborn man is thinking? Your team in particular is in danger, seeing as you have the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and the last of the Uchiha under your wings. You might get targeted. So you're saying Team 7 won't accept the Wave mission? You will accept. But I want you to use your dog summons around you at all times and Team Guy will be half a day behind you. Hiruzen tilted his head slightly. But knowing Guy, that'll probably be less as that same day progresses. Understood. Kakashi was gaping like a fish as Danzo calmly strutted forward in almost bored fashion. He wasn't even considering Zabuza as he took in his surroundings. Just as calmly as he was walking, he moved the bandages on his head to the side to reveal a glaring Sharingan eye. Now he was focusing on Zabuza. Boy, I suggest you beg for mercy. Shaking himself out of his shock, Zabuza quickly found his courage and motioned for his accomplice to show himself, too. Even you will have trouble against 2A-ranked shinobi. Danzo actually chuckled. He was quite enjoying this backseat kind of situation. So you noticed? Came Naruto's voice. Danzo looked over his shoulder and nodded his head to Naruto. In fact, it looked as if he nodded his thanks to the blonde. It might not be how I expected things to play out, but I have surely surpassed Hiruzen now. When performing the Shinzui Bunshin, Naruto can choose many things. To infuse the clone of essence with, either his chakra, his blood or even blood and or chakra from any he has absorbed. Right now, he infused Danzo with his own blood, Uzumaki blood. Blood of a descendant to the Senju. Blood that can make Danzo control both the Sharingan in his eye a lot easier and blood that can actually perform jutsu with and control the Mokuton presence in his body. Yes, even though he was an undead slave now, he was feeling quite well. You want some backup? Naruto grinned as he had his arms folded over one another. Sasuke and Sakura, way further back in the mist, couldn't see any of this. No, Danzo was resolute. I wish to test this thoroughly. Kakashi swallowed nervously as he saw Danzo perform hand seals. Mokuton, Mokuryu no Jutsu. Naruto grinned in perfect bliss. A huge wooden dragon shot out of Danzo's body and flew towards his 2 adversaries in menacing speed. Zabuza and Haku were already backpedaling in panic, the older performing hand seals in rapid fashion. A wood user. Zabuza-sama, what are we up against? Who is that boy? Haku was standing behind her mentor as he tried to fight off the wooden dragon with a water dragon. But it looked like the water dragon was simply being absorbed into the attack. This was to be expected, as it was simply a water clone of Zabuza that performed the technique. That boy summoned this man to fight against us, and now he's just, looking past both Zabuza and Danzo, she noticed the blonde. Just sitting on the ground? The wooden dragon raged towards them, having added power to itself after completely devouring the water dragon Zabuza had uselessly used as a countermeasure. Haku, we have to run. This is too much. Zabuza's water clone evaporated and the real Zabuza swiftly released Kakashi from the water prison. You're not going anywhere, Devil Zabuza. Danzo, having appeared by a speedy Shunshin, was blocking his escape. Haku was approaching in the distance, but Danzo had already sliced in Zabuza's right shoulder with a futon technique. You'll be a fine addition. Haku raced as fast as he could, but suddenly felt a horrible pain in his back. Falling to the ground and managed to look up, he saw the blonde boy from before, towering above him. A hunter nin from the mist. Huh? I hope you're strong. She heard him say as he felt him put his hand to her head. 10 seconds later, she was no longer among the living. But for some reason, she still was. Sasuke and Sakura saw the mist clear away and noticed Naruto and Kakashi approaching them from the distance. They both could clearly see the huge sword Zabuza was using on Naruto's back. What had happened? Is that guy dead? The stutter came from Tazuna. Are we safe again? It could be a trick. Don't let your guard down, Sasuke ordered both Sakura and Tazuna. Why else would that blonde dunce be carrying that sword? But Sakura was confused, but complied with Sasuke's order. Stand down, Zabuza has been killed. Kakashi ordered as he tried not to look at Naruto. As of now, Kakashi was sure the blonde could kill their entire squad. His analyzing mind was working overtime as he tried to understand Naruto's ability. Prove it. Say something only you know. You won't know something only I know, Sasuke. Naruto wasn't as reasonable as their instructor. Sasuke, you're an ass who's into guys. Naruto. Sakura tried to reprimand, but realized it was actually proof. Shut up, clown. Did Kakashi give you that sword? Hey, I found it before he could pick it up. Naruto, next time stay with your comrades and protect the client. You can't just abandon an order. Naruto gave his sensei a sly look that spoke volumes, but nodded his consent. Of course, Kakashi-sensei. So, hesitantly, Tazuna stepped towards Kakashi. We're safe now? Kakashi was eyeing his team with clear suspicion in his eyes. They had arrived at the home of Tazuna's daughter, Tsunami. At the moment, they were all eating dinner in relative silence. Sasuke and Sakura were just normal rookie genin, but Naruto. That ability was very dangerous. After having thought about it for the entire day, Kakashi had come to several conclusions. The first was that he could summon people that he had absorbed. Amino Uruka and Toji Mizuki were evidence of that. He was no censor, but he could tell it was really them and not Naruto in disguise. The second conclusion was that the people he absorbed were actually still alive inside of Naruto. Shimura Danzo was the proof of that one, since the Silence Fuin seals were still active en route Anbu in Konoha. So Danzo was still alive. But how did that work? If still alive, why would Danzo listen to Naruto and fight for him? Thus came the third conclusion. After being absorbed, you're still alive but you become one of Naruto's soldiers, if you could call them that. Danzo would never willingly listen to a brat like Naruto, so there was no other explanation. But there were also revelations. Apparently, Shimura Danzo has a Sharingan Eye and the Mokuton ability. What a dangerous man. And now that Zabuza and Haku were also absorbed, that meant Naruto could summon more soldiers to fight for him. What kind of monster would he become? His eye flashed to sudden Anbu hand signals and Kakashi immediately recognized them as talk in private. Seems Naruto has learned a few things from his absorbees. His eye narrowed as he made a move for the door. That could also be a conclusion. Did Naruto learn everything from his absorbees instantly? Naruto, you and I are up for guard duty first. Sasuke, Sakura, get some rest. The minute they stepped out of the house, Naruto used Shunshin to get away fast. Kakashi gauged the speed in which he was moving and realized the blonde wanted him to follow. Do I trust him? Would Naruto absorb him? He chose to let Akage Bunshin follow his student and followed after the clone. Coming at a clearing, the shadow clone found Naruto pouting. You wound me, Kakashi. You don't trust me enough? The reply wasn't immediate. Kakashi was thinking too much on how Naruto could recognize him being a shadow clone. Can you blame me? You have already taken 3 Konoha shinobi that I know of. That you know of, yes. Naruto's grin was too much like a cat and Kakashi didn't like it. Don't worry, I won't absorb you. And if you need to know, Danzo came to MY house and started intimidating ME. I simply finished a battle he couldn't win. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki turned serious here. You need to understand something, Kakashi. I will explain. Kakashi's Kage Bunshin turned very wary as Danzo, Iruka, Mizuki, Zabuza and Haku melted out of Naruto's body in less than 2 seconds. No limit, then. I thought too, because he summoned Iruka and Mizuki first during that fight with Zabuza. You're a talented shinobi, Kakashi. Danzo started as he sat on the ground. Clever enough to know not to fight hopeless battles, I presume? You're still alive. Kakashi breathed out. In a way I am, but in many I am not. I have a limited own will, but it is close to a complete free one, by my standards. There are only 2 things we cannot do. The aging Warhawk sighed as he played with his cane a bit. We cannot attack Uzumaki Naruto in any way and we cannot disobey any order given by him. His is what keeps us, semi-alive. You didn't know you had a monster like him under you, Kakashi? Zabuza seemed annoyed and Haku, next to him, sad. I got turned into a fucking slave soldier. Iruka stepped forward this time. Kakashi-san, Naruto is a good boy, he won't harm Konoha. You can still trust him despite this horrid ability. How'd I know he didn't order you to say that, Iruka-san? Kakashi wasn't sure whether Naruto could mentally send orders around between these creations of his. Apparently summoning them wasn't tiring, because Naruto himself was simply standing amongst them with a grin on his face. You don't. This time it was Mizuki who answered. But you need to know no one will be able to stop this kid. He knows everything, and by everything I mean. Mizuki glared at the ground. More than you and I will ever know. As of right now, Naruto is loyal to Konoha. Since I can only follow him, I wish for this to remain. Konoha hasn't treated the boy well. Danzo's single eye was glaring at Kakashi. It is in your best interest to make sure Naruto stays loyal to Konoha. I'm standing right here, Danzo. My actions are mostly controlled by you. My speech, it seems, isn't. Danzo shrugged to Naruto. As long as you fight for Konoha, I don't necessarily mind this situation. All of the absorbees vaporized like wisps of smoke back into Naruto with a simple thought. I am getting really used to this ability of mine. His head suddenly twitched and Kakashi was instantly on guard. 4 shinobi are approaching Tazunza's house. He dropped his alert demeanor a bit since he had an idea on who it could be and used his nose. Don't worry, it's a Konoha team. Interesting. The hair on the back of Kakashi's neck stood up as he watched Naruto narrow his eyes at him. None of what I've learned so far told me your nose was this advanced. We are almost a mile away from the house and you smelled them so easy. What about you? Kakashi countered. You sensed them this far ahead. The blonde grinned. See? They are about a mile away from the house, in the opposite direction. We both learned from each other our radius of scent and sense is at least 2 miles. Quite a lot, for a nose. Allow me to enlighten you a bit, sensei. Among the team, there's a young Hyuga. His eyes. Kakashi just now noticed that Naruto's eyes have turned a few shades lighter. Was it like that before? For how long? Did he absorb a Hyuga? And if so, is he able to use their ability? Should it even be a bloodline limit, through those he has absorbed? Does that also mean he can use Danzo's Sharingan? The copy nin rubbed his head in frustration. Too many questions. I am a shinobi of Konoha, sensei. He walked past the man and started back towards Tazuna's house. Perhaps you shouldn't see me as a threat to my own village. I don't know how your ability works, perhaps you take over personalities too. The Junin followed after him. Danzo, in many ways, was a threat to his own village. You have but rumors for that, Naruto instantly countered. We should hurry, the Konoha Junin will surely see through the cage bunshin we left behind. Hoa! My eternal rival, Naruto's left eyebrow went up at the sudden scream from the Konoha Junin. He and Kakashi made it back before the reinforcements got to the house. From all the memories inside of him, he could easily tell who the 4 new arrivals were. Courtesy of. The Junin was Maeda Guy, one of the few elite Junin Konoha held. In Danzo's route Anbu, there were only few that could go toe-to-toe with this man. This was Konoha's taijutsu expert. A carbon copy, much younger, stood next to him. This was to be Konoha's next taijutsu expert. Rock Lee, a promising genin, even though he would never be able to perform either ninjutsu or genjutsu. Then there was Hyuga Neji, supposedly a genius prodigy. Naruto couldn't wait to kick this boy's teeth through the back of his skull, just from the arrogance this boy was exuding. He hadn't absorbed a Hyuga, but according to Kurama the Byakugan was derived from the eyes he was sporting. Already he was learning new things with his eyes. Perhaps absorbing a Hyuga could help with this. Preferably one from the main house. The final member of Team Guy was Tenten. One of the very few current Konoha genin who was a bit talented in Fuinjutsu. Her specialty though, lay in weapons. All of them. Naruto grinned because, thanks to Zabuza, he was now immensely proficient with the sword that currently rested in Tezuna's house. Ah, Guy, did you just arrive? This must be one of your promising young students? Naruto nodded his head enthusiastically and screamed back. I am the amazing Uzumaki Naruto. Never heard of this kid. Neji thought. Looks like he just picked up some clothes from the ground somewhere and put them on. Was Tenten's first thought. Naruto had his entire attire changed the day after Sasuke had made a cruel comment about it. That was when Kakashi made them get to know one another a bit better. Naruto wore an oversized light gray long-sleeved t-shirt. His hands were hidden from view, but Kakashi had already spotted gauntlets underneath. Naruto's collarbone and even the upper part of his chest was in full view. His shorts reached till below his knees and was also oversized colored dark gray. His sandals were black and seemed very worn out. The Hite-8 from Konoha was lazily, but tightly, spun around the right sandal. It was very bent because of that and hardly noticeable. Yash. My name is Rock Lee. May we both become legendary Konoha shinobi, Naruto-kun. Naruto gladly shook Lee's hand. Yes, we will. Your student will become very strong, Kakashi. Guy commented from the side. How goes the mission? Well, here the gray-haired veteran scratched the back of his head. So far we've already dealt with Kiri's demon brothers, Momochi Zabuza and a hunter nin from Kiri. He was speaking as if it was no big deal, but Guy was a bit shocked. Your first C-ranked mission and you run into an A-ranked nuke nin? Even Neji was shocked. Yeah, but Kakashi-sensei handled them all with ease. Naruto quickly explained with a thumbs up. We didn't even have to do anything. Obviously. Neji sneered, at which Naruto simply pointed his thumbs up at him. Amazing. As expected of my eternal rival, Ma, it was no big deal. Let's get inside and say hello to the rest of my team. Naruto, stay outside and keep guard. A few minutes after they stepped inside, Naruto summoned Zabuza, Haku, Danzo and the 5 root Anbu he had absorbed. Kill Gato. Zabuza and Haku will lead the way. There shouldn't be any strong people left. Danzo, if possible, transfer all his money to your account. Even without his sword, Zabuza was still very powerful. This will also let him know how far his Shinzui Bunshin could travel from him. If necessary, he will just join this hunt. As Team Guy and Team 7 got ready for the trek back home, Neji couldn't help but notice the huge sword on Naruto's back. But it was Tenten that asked about it. Hey. That's Kabikari Hucho. It's one of the legendary swords, wielded by Momochi Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Why are you carrying it? She couldn't contain her excitement one bit. Ah, well, Kakashi didn't need it and I'm the only one in our team that can fight with swords. Sasuke twitched and Sakura's mouth dropped open. They didn't know Naruto could handle swords. Hell, they didn't even believe it. Ho? How about a spar, then? Your name was Naruto, right? I don't spar. was Naruto's instant response. It reveals my techniques. Clever. Sasuke and Sakura were surprised to see Kakashi appear next to the blonde. But sparring is a necessary way of training. It helps you get ready for an opponent who could be similar to your sparring partner. Yeah, see, let's spar. Naruto simply ignored Tenten. I don't think it's wise to spar with this sword, sensei. Ho! How courageous. Young Naruto-kun is afraid he will hurt you, Tenten. Guy was just as sneaky as Kakashi, suddenly appearing behind the until now silent Lee and Neji. Oh, how truly wonderful. Naruto-kun is amazing. Lee instantly joined. Tenten, however, wasn't as amused. As if a rookie genin can hurt me. Perhaps in Konoha, Tenten. We should be on the move, Guy ordered. Kakashi nodded the same to his team. Neji regarded the blonde Naruto one last time, before considering him a weakling after all. The only one in Team 7 worth something was Uchiha Sasuke. Perhaps he would request a spar back in Konoha. About a minute after he had dismissed his team from the Hokage's office, a knock came to the door. Kakashi was just about to inform Hiruzen about Naruto's ability and about Danzo when Danzo walked in, followed by Naruto. Hiruzen, I come with interesting news. The Hokage started with a surprised snort. Danzo, where have you been these past 2 weeks? Actually, I was just about to say. Kakashi tried to start, but Danzo stepped next to him and silenced him with a wave of his hand. I was busy killing Gato in Wave Country. Here Kakashi narrowed his eyes. I felt it necessary because he was becoming a threat to the greater nations. I thought I have forbidden you from taking such actions, Danzo. The office was suddenly filled with a menacing presence. Hiruzen glared at Danzo, but seemed to suddenly notice Naruto. Why is Naruto here? He was surprised. Danzo chuckled at the question. He has absorbed me, Hiruzen. That's why I went missing. Hiruzen's head snapped to Naruto quicker than any thought possible. Dewa, Naruto? It's true. The blonde admitted. The night after Kakashi failed me, Sakura and Sasuke, Danzo approached me. I managed to touch him. But, Hiruzen blinked at the sudden information. That means that people you absorb stay alive? Kakashi sighed to himself. It seemed everything he wanted to say would be said by either his student or Danzo. Yes, they stay alive in a way. You know what that means, right? It means I never killed Iruka-sensei or Mizuki. They're still alive. Naruto started to explain. But they cannot live for long as the only thing keeping them alive outside of my body is my chakra. Quite similar to elemental Bunshin, actually. I've experimented a bit and it seems, Naruto chose to lie in this instant, as both Kakashi and Hiruzen could become enemies. Who knows what the future held? The limit is a mile. After a mile, they die like any normal person would. They are automatically returned to you. I can choose to dispel them, which will make them return to me automatically, yes. He answered Hiruzen's question next, but when they die, I can choose to absorb them back or just let them die. They're not returned automatically. Naruto's brains started working instantly here. Which means, if they, or any other opponent, fight me, they would probably kill my Shinzui Bunshin and prevent me from absorbing them again. So before they die, I should dispel them. In truth though, the Shinzui Bunshin could move farther and they would be dispelled when moving too far, returning back to the summoner. What an ability, Naruto. I'm still getting used to it, he admitted. Kakashi-sensei is kinda giving me a hard time because of this ability. That was understandable, though. To everyone's surprise, it was Danzo who reacted. Kakashi was probably informed of my disappearance and learned on this mission that you were responsible for it. In clearer words, it means you attacked a fellow shinobi in Konoha. But that was self-defense, a lie, but no one needed to know that. Danzo inwardly grimaced, but went along with it. He didn't have a choice in the matter, anyway. Naruto's orders, to him, were absolute. Indeed, I did attack him that night. But only to scare him. I never thought this would be the consequence of my action. So now you just follow Naruto around? Hiruzen asked skeptically. Why? How does this work? Danzo's expression hardened here. I am dead, Hiruzen. The only way I still live is if he summons me. He can choose to dispel me any time he wishes. Then why don't you kill him, Danzo? Hiruzen's expression was also hardened. Kakashi gulped nervously, while Naruto just seemed amused. It seems your hearing is failing you in your old age, Hiruzen. As mentioned before, the only thing keeping me semi-alive is his chakra. If he dies, his chakra will go with him. Which in turn means, I die, too. Danzo snorted. I would do many things frowned upon in life, but suicide is not one of them. Perhaps you should inform Hokage-sama about your other absorbees? The only genin in the office raised an eyebrow in question at Kakashi. You're gonna call them absorbees? What do you call them, then, Naruto? The oldest in the office asked. Hiruzen was slightly older than Danzo. Shinzui Bunshin. Clone of essence. Was the easy answer to Hiruzen. But absorbees is possible too. Or insiders. Rehumans. Second chancers. The undead. Wait, that's wrong, they're really dead, so, the unliving? Enough. Tell me who you have absorbed so far. Fine. Instead of answering, Naruto summoned everyone, and easily too, Hiruzen noticed. Introduce yourselves. The blonde ordered. They couldn't disobey. Toji Mizuki. The silver-haired Chunin wasn't looking at the fire leader. Amino Iruka. The former teacher offered an apologetic look. Shimura Danzo. This surprised both Hiruzen and Kakashi, since Danzo was already present. But it seemed the order went to everyone. Interesting fact. Yamanaka Fu. The Root Anbu removed his mask to reveal orange hair and blue eyes. Aburame Torun. The one with the acid bugs, Hiruzen recalled. Nara Hio. The promising Nara orphan that vanished from the academy years ago, Hiruzen should have known. Fuma Yukio. A purple-haired 20-something-year-old woman. Her hair reached past her collarbone and her eyes were also purple. Hiruzen looked slightly surprised. Of course Danzo would recruit outside of Konoha. Knowing the old Warhawk, he would recruit only the best, too. The Fuma clan was known for their talent with chakra threads. Kedwa Nakari. The fifth and final root agent. This woman had her long dark green hair tied in a ponytail reaching just above her butt. Her appearance could be a lie, though, as their ability to impersonate another was unrivaled. Yuki Haku. Hiruzen's eyes and Kakashi's eyes widened as the identity of the Kiri Hunter Nin was now revealed. To think Naruto could summon the last of the Yuki clan. Momochi Zabuza. His name alone was enough for the people in the office to know who this was. The Devil of the Mist. Naruto seemed a bit bored as he stood behind his army. Hey, old man? Is this enough? I'm kind of on a tight schedule. Naruto. I order you to refrain from touching anyone in Konoha. I can tell you're not wearing the gloves I gave you under those long sleeves. Care to tell me why you're wearing others? Don't worry about it, I can control my ability. Besides, those gloves make me look suspicious. These make me look cool. He pulled one of his sleeves up and revealed a dark gray gauntlet. But it seems I wasn't original. Those two demon brothers wore similar gauntlets, he complained a bit. Grabbing his smoke pipe and getting ready to smoke from it, Hiruzen shot the people in the office an exasperated look. Can you dispel your army, Naruto? This office is kind of small. Huh? But you asked me to. Naruto got cut off. I asked you to tell me, not show me. Everyone disappeared, except for Danzo. Hiruzen, I have things to discuss. I think you should dismiss Hitaki Kakashi first. Kakashi felt like he was out of his depth already, anyway. I have information on Orochimaru's whereabouts. As soon as Kakashi had left, Danzo started. You're probably wondering why I'm going to share this information. Yes, I am. I always knew you were keeping things from me. Don't take me for a fool. You should know I let you. I know you let me. You still feel a form of comradeship with me. Believe it or not, I feel the same. Hiruzen's expression didn't change. So, why are you telling me this now? I have many alliances across the nations, Hiruzen. Now that I am no longer alive, I can break all of them and betray them all. One such alliance I am quite eager to destroy. The alliance with Orochimaru. Blowing some smoke out, Hiruzen glared at his rival. Naruto was seated in one of the two chairs in front of the Hokage's desk. Danzo in the other. He was actually regarded as an equal now. I can't say I'm surprised. Surely you joined hands with my wayward student to reach for the Hokage's title. He shook his head in disappointment. Why you always slither towards your goals will always be the question. It is in the past now. We can both be rest assured. Now with this trump card, with Naruto's ability and him being the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, Konoha has jumped up in strength. I believe we should make a preemptive strike. Preemptive? A war is coming, Hiruzen. I know for a fact that Orochimaru is meeting with the Kazekage in a few days. Why should I believe that? A dead man has no reason to lie. Have you heard of Otogakure? The Sound Village? I've heard a bit. Nothing good. Around the region many people have been reported missing. Many shinobi. Exactly. Otogakure is Orochimaru's newly formed village. I wish to bring it to the ground. He has many promising shinobi I wish for young Naruto to absorb. Everything he knows I know, old man. Naruto interjected. He didn't really come up with this plan. I learned of a few interesting shinobi with bloodline limits that currently reside within Oto. I wish for them to become mine. Your ability is changing you, Naruto. I don't know if that is necessarily a good thing. Care to tell me what Kekkei Genkai interests you? He has a Kagaya, a Hazuka and a Shoten user, but that is all that Danzo knows. There are more, most likely. Before we can do all that, however, I believe we should take care of one of my hidden soldiers first. With hidden soldier, Danzo clearly meant a root Enbu disguising as a normal Konoha shinobi. And who would that be? Yakushi Kabuto. He is actually working for Orochimaru, too. Perhaps absorbing him will tell us more, Danzo suggested. But he is a Konoha shinobi currently, won't he be missed? He's a fake, Hiruzen. He has nobody tied to him in Konoha. The Sandaime put his pipe down and considered the two in front of him. Scheming to take down an entire village. You're sure a war is coming? Danzo and Naruto both didn't want to tell too much. Yes, a war is definitely coming. I don't know why he has requested a meeting with the Kazekage, but I know Orochimaru was sending 2 Oto teams to participate in the coming Chunin exams. He would instigate a war during these exams. That is all I know. The veteran sighed. Regrettably, I would help him. I apologize, Hiruzen, but I agreed to let him and his army enter Konoha unnoticed. What was your price? The killing intent from the third didn't come unexpected. Danzo didn't really care much for it since he was already dead. They needed to be careful here since they needed the third's trust. Danzo stood from his chair and unraveled the bandages around his right shoulder. Orochimaru's experiments, he wasn't doing them alone. I was in on it, through Root. In fact, Orochimaru was one of my Root Anbu. The killing intent grew and Naruto had to clench his fists to stay unaffected. When the old Sarutobi saw Danzo's shoulder, it intensified. You dared? Such sacrilege. The Shodem's blood. Yes. Senju Hashirama's blood. I need his help to control it. He was the one experimenting, but you found out about it before we reached a conclusion. He never finished this particular experiment. I cannot control this power. Old man, please don't attack Danzo. Hiruzen coldly ignored Naruto. That's why you still need Orochimaru. Although he didn't need the snake anymore, thanks to Naruto's ability, yes, he still lied. What is your plan, then? Or should I ask Naruto? Yes, you should ask me. With a flick of his fingers, Danzo was gone, absorbed back into Naruto to Hiruzen's amazement. I have all of his abilities, old man. All of his and all of theirs, combined, not averaged, accumulated. That's impossible, you can't control that much chakra. No, I can't. Not alone. Here, Naruto grinned. But I'm not alone. The Sandaime narrowed his eyes. The ones you absorb help you control it inside of you? No, the Kyuubi helps me. You can't trust it, Naruto. This ability of yours is frightening enough. Old man, don't worry, I still want to become Hokage and protect Konoha until I die. The blonde put a finger to his chin. Danzo wanted to go to Otogakure immediately, but I think that's a mistake. He agrees with me now, I'm sure. We can't let Orochimaru know we already know of his plans. Yakushi Kabuto is set to participate in the coming Chunin exams as well. I'll absorb that traitor during the exams, Hokage-sama. And why then? If I do it now, Orochimaru will surely grow suspicious. Naruto, Hiruzen rose from his chair. Tell me, what have you learned from and of your ability so far? A nervous chuckle was the first answer. Well, according to the Kyuubi, this ability is ancient and said to have died off long ago. He said the Sage of the Six Paths killed the last user of this ability personally. The Sage of the Six Paths? The first chakra-wielding man? Yes. Apparently, this ability was wielded once before, and only once, by the brother of the sage. What an eventful day. Tell me about it, inside of Naruto's mindscape. Himura's eyes, they are still somewhat alive today, in the eyes of the Hyuga. Kurama started. They look similar, I have observed, but they are far weaker. Hamura could do things with his eyes the Hyuga need extra techniques for. The Byakugan is a weaker version of what Hamura carried. I have already noticed a few things, Kurama. Naruto grinned. When I want to see something farther ahead in clearer view, my view automatically zooms in on what I want to see, being able to even see through trees and stuff. Yes, like the Byakugan, your eyes can see through objects. It means you can also see inside human bodies. I believe you should focus on that specifically. Hamura could let the insides of men explode just by looking at them, but at the cost of temporary blindness. The Hyugas seem to have developed the Juken to copy this element of the Dujutsu. The Hyuga can't do anything with just a glance, they need the chakra gathered in a specific way in their fingers to do damage inside a body. I believe you don't need this gentle fist style. I'll experiment with my Shinzui Bunshin. Let's see what these eyes can do. Sasuke was doing some standard taijutsu practice when Naruto approached the training grounds Team 7 often frequented. Kakashi and Sakura hadn't arrived yet. You're early, dead last. Couldn't carry the sword with you? He left Zabuza's sword in a scroll in one of his pockets. If he ever summoned Zabuza, he would summon the sword as well. I left it somewhere safe. Sasuke went back to his kata, intent on ignoring his useless teammate. The young Uchiha was frustrated. So far, their missions hadn't given him any increase in strength. Their latest mission could have, if Kakashi hadn't done all the work. Really, what's the point if the Junin was going to do everything? He hadn't even activated his Sharingan yet. That Hyuga boy from the other team requested a spar, but Sasuke already knew the outcome of that spar. Neji would wipe the floor with him. He didn't like losing, so he told the older boy he wasn't in the mood to fight weaklings. First, the Sharingan, then he would beat everyone into submission. Then, he would kill Itachi. Nay, Sasuke. I'm busy, dead last. But you're doing it wrong. He dares? Instead of bothering to reply, Sasuke dashed towards Naruto and got ready to plant a heavy elbow in the blonde's face. I'll show you Ron OMFFFF. Naruto instead planted his fist in the Uchiha's stomach and followed up by grabbing Sasuke by the collar calmly. See? You would be able to dodge this fist otherwise? He couldn't dodge Naruto's fist in his face and was sent careening to the ground in immense pain. Naruto didn't hold back in strength. I'm done holding back, Sasuke. And I'm done hearing you call me dead last. I thought we went over that already? Was that necessary, Naruto? Turning around, Naruto nodded his head in certainty. He had sensed Kakashi and Sakura approaching them seconds ago. It was. He needs to activate his Sharingan. I'll kick it into his eyes. I request a spar, Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke managed to rise from the ground and spat out blood to his right. Naruto simply grinned at the Uchiha's sneer. Kakashi seemed hesitant, but understood Naruto's logic. He would allow this spar if Sasuke accepted. Sakura hadn't seen what happened but was confused. Naruto wanted to spar with Sasuke, he was about to get his ass kicked and he was smiling about it. You're on, Sasuke readied himself. Dead last. He spat out in contempt. Naruto's look hardened considerably. You've done it now.
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.